if you guys are just tuning in, I highly encourage you to visit my Patreon page. I just launched it today. You could take a look at the history in the Twitch channel to see the previous streams where I talk about it in detail. I've done it throughout the entire day today. I will be doing a quick review tomorrow, not as in depth, maybe 10 minutes at most, if not less. But yeah, check that out. Check out the Patreon page. See which tiers seem interesting, and tell your friends about it. See if they would want to partake as well. So today I'm going to continue on with older pages, and I'm going to try to finish inking this page right here. They do look better, slightly better. I'm still unsatisfied with the outcome of these pages, all three of them, because there's certain parts that just looked bad. Like this, for example, the bush turned into just like a green blob. I'm going to revisit that when I start watercoloring again. But today I'm going to do inking. I'm going to ink this, and then I'm going to do some color pencil work. I promise I will come back to watercoloring. Just wanted to explore color pencils and get some cool results. I just noticed, actually, there's a panel that I didn't finish. Probably because it's a side panel, I didn't realize it. So I'm gonna have to revisit that one on the Drawn Comics stream. Alright, so let's jump into inking. For those just tuning in, this is John Buscema's beautiful work of Conan the Barbarian. This is the movie edition, the movie special edition issue, the official comics adaptation of the hit film with Arnold Schwarzenegger. I believe this is what it's based on. So this is the coloring comics is behind drawing comics. So I drew out all these other panels, but I haven't caught up with the drawing comics as far as coloring them goes. But that's okay. There's no rush. The idea is to enjoy the process. So this is the panel right here that I'm going to be working on. I'm also going to try to fix this back of his. Maybe I'm just going to leave it alone until I revisit it to color it. To color it the right color, because this is not the right color. This is so dark in comparison. But anyways, I'm going to skip on to this one right here, using this amazing brush right here, and this brush pen. Such a great tool. I'm so glad I found it. It's a great investment. You never have to throw this out. You just refill it with ink. I use Dr. Martin's India ink because I really like the strength of it. Like, there's other ones that I've tried, and they tend to look a little watered down, whereas Dr. Martin's black ink is really nice. It has a rich tone to it. If you guys haven't noticed, I'm taking a break from what was it? EDM. It was a nice change of pace. It was fast, but at some point it kind of got annoying. we're now back to chill beats. I'm trying to practice not holding the pen too close. And I'm finding that I'm getting slowly more and more comfortable with it, to be honest. Probably has to do with just doing it over and over again, keeping it in mind, and not reverting back to what I've been doing, which is holding it all the way at the tip. I think being mindful of it with a pencil as well is paying off. I really don't like that habit of mine. Something that I learned a long time ago and I'm fighting it off now is giving the pencil a death grip, or I mean, I haven't really done that in a long time, but here and there I'll catch myself get into that mode. And like holding the pencil all the way at the tip, I really don't like it. It's not just a personal preference, though. I think it really benefits having that habit because it allows you to have greater range of motion. And as you guys could see, my hand is resting on the sketchbook, whereas here, I have to move it around a lot. Or if I get to a place where, you know, it becomes a little bit stiff, it becomes a little uncomfortable, so I have to move it. Whereas here I have greater range of motion, less hand movement, and most of all, it's a very loose feel. And you want to have that. I think, you know, you don't want to start to feel stiff and rigid in your drawing process. It should be a free-flowing, pleasant experience. And that's a way to attain that, is holding it loosely and keeping a distance from the tip of the pencil or brush or pen, whatever you're using. So I'm starting out with the background and working towards the front. Not really. I'm still trying to see if whether that's necessary to kind of have that kind of order. You know, if at any point it's advantageous to start with the background and work towards the foreground. But I'm not really catching that so far. I don't really see anything. For me, it's just because the icing on the cake is to work on the characters in the panel. So I kind of saved the best for last. For some reason, when I'm drawing this, it reminds me of Assassin's Creed. Probably because it's like a historic period. And so is Assassin's Creed. And I'm debating on whether I should just get myself a PlayStation 5. Just so that I could play those games, because they were so much fun. I really enjoyed the story. I like parkour. I think it's really cool. So it has like all these different elements, and it's a great adventure game. The story is excellent. It seems almost worth just to get it for that reason. I have it currently on the Nvidia Shield, but to be honest, I'm not too happy with their service. I don't like that these streaming services have access to like so much personal stuff. Like you have to put in your account, and you have to do this, and you have to do that, and you have to like give permission to this. There's just so many different steps in order to just play a game. That makes me want to just get a console, put the game in, and sit and play without having to have like. Although I haven't played like console games in such a long time, I'm kind of curious to know if that's the process there as well. Like you have to have an account, you have to put in all this info. This is what I miss about like Super Nintendo and those kind of games. You just bought the console, you bought the game, you popped it in, you played it, that's it. Like all this account, all this detail that you have to put in, like what's your birthday, what's your social security number, what's your blood type, we're gonna scan your fingerprints. What time do you eat? What time do you sleep? What time do you, it's like, it's over the top, really. Not only are you paying a lot for the games, but they're also like banking off of your information and selling it to third parties, and they're just so obnoxious now. It's ridiculous. These companies are incredibly obnoxious. Like I really want to have, this is what I was talking about, I'm just gonna buy Super Nintendo for times that I do get a chance to play, which isn't really much. But just to sit down and play those games for fun. But yeah, this is why I was just considering getting a PlayStation 5, because I just don't like this whole like, we're gonna get everything about you and we're gonna just sell you stuff. It's not enough that we got your money and you're paying astronomical prices for your games. You also have to pay monthly memberships. It's just corporate greed, man. Capitalism is such a garbage system. No limits to it, and just exploiting people nonstop. I think when people stop wanting to do it and start complaining about it and not getting into it and not providing that information, that's when they're gonna decide to take a different approach, because as long as people don't complain, as long as people continue to do it, and they're just gonna continue to do that. Having a conscience isn't popular and doesn't get you money, so people are just getting worse and worse to make more money. Gross. I think that's what kind of needs to happen as well, is making having a conscience popular, and the opposite gross. So instead of like idolizing mainstream media personalities that are like borderline sociopathic or narcissistic, do the opposite. If people are just following trends, then create the right kind of trends, not the money-making ones, so that it will switch. There's a lot of people trying to emulate the Orange Man, and it's reverberating. It's pretty pathetic. think the less people take action, the harder it's going to be to reverse. So if this is difficult, imagine what it's like when things get worse and worse, and more systems are in place, more people, damaged people who are going to be making decisions are going to be in place. It's going to be a lot harder to do the opposite or to get things on track. That's why I think it's important to start now, to take action now, as opposed to wait until it gets even worse. And then being like, holy shit, we got so much work to do to make things. And that hill is going to get steeper and steeper. Kind of curious to see how far up on the pen or the pencil I can go before bad results start to show up. Is that even possible? I think the only downside is that you either do this and it gives you more of an accurate thin line. Doing this, you have to be very careful because making a thick line becomes a bigger chance since it's slanted. Going back to the whole Assassin's Creed, though, one thing I remember was how extensive their research is. For like each period, the amount of information that they get, politically even, it's unbelievable. That's what really attracted me to it, is because they weren't just talking about like mainstream media, or mainstream knowledge of history. They were revealing some really interesting stuff. That's fact-based. It's not just like, it's a mix between, exaggeration and reality, but you could kind of tell, even by doing research, when something sounds like it could be real, just doing quick research, you'll find out that it is. And that's what really intrigued me. I was like, whoa, this stuff is really out there, and you get to kind of live through it. The architecture is beautiful. It's also very historically accurate. It's just a fantastic game, in all sense of that word. That's why I'm kind of like ready to shell out some money to be able to play it and finish it. But it is time consuming. I feel like you just need to get into a cave, whatever they're called, like man caves or whatever, for a couple of weeks, and just like binge through the entire series. And as I mentioned, I got pretty far. I got up to Origins, and then Origins, it's just unplayable. That was the other thing with it. It's like, because you're streaming it, that NVIDIA service, it's questionable, and they're still fairly new. And like I said, I just don't like that they're just snooping around. Like, if you read some of the privacy policy things, like what they collect on you, like your IP address, your information, your data, all that stuff I was joking about, it's actually based on reality. Like, they collect a lot of stuff. And then you question, like, how? If it's a streaming service, where are they getting all this stuff from? So it becomes very questionable. Like, and I'm already paying you money. Why are you collecting even more data off of me? Like, I don't want you to do that. So just because of that, I'm just like, screw it. I'd rather just get the actual games and not give these companies just free reign over my life and everything that involves it. It's super creepy. It's kind of like a SS. If you guys are familiar with that, look them up. Some Stasi bullshit. And people are like, oh look, it's so cool. I just used my fingerprint to open up the phone. Oh cool, all I have to do is just drop a little bit of my blood onto the camera and it scans everything. I think that's actually a thing too. Like, I think that now they're like, you could test yourself at home by dropping your blood on top of this thing. And it's wild, man. And then whoever wants to buy that data on you could probably do it. I don't use, so just to say, I don't use any of that stuff. I don't think it's right. Even if they paid me for it, I still don't like that. Uh-oh. 1 second. So unfortunately, y'all, it doesn't look like I'm going to get a chance to do color pencil work. I've been working on this panel for some time. Been trying to perfect the thin lines, and by holding the pen not too close, it's kind of slowing me down. But I'll say this, I'm slowly starting to feel how being more and more in this zone of like drawing lightly and keeping your hand at a distance starts to become easier and faster. Like I could slowly start feeling, I guess that's confidence, right? You just start to feel good about it and not as unsure about your lines. So taking it slow, taking it easy is just a way of like being more and more sensitive to how it feels, so that you could speed things up a bit. Like, okay, I understand how this feels when I'm making very thin lines. I think that's the beauty with using brushes. You really start to feel very sensitive to the process. Like if you're using a Micron, and again, it's not a better or worse thing, it's just different. You gain different skills or different results from both. But for a Micron, you could keep pressing harder. You could press as hard as you want. You're still going to get the same line thickness. You might damage the pen, but yeah, it's not as important. But with this, you really start to feel like the very tip of it, of the pen. You start to notice it because it's important. It determines whether you're going to continue to make a thin or thick line. So it really teaches you sensitivity. It's kind of like the next level. I found one. It's kind of hiding. I knew it wasn't over. And I think that did it. That did it, and so did it do the stream, guys. This is it for the day. I will be back tomorrow in the afternoon as well, from 3 to 4 p.m. I'm going to be streaming, and then from 8 until 9, 8 until 10, it's going to be the same schedule. So tune back in then for more Art Lounge. And thanks for checking in. Thanks for tuning into this stream. If you enjoy the content, remember to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. They both go a long way to help the stream grow and make the Art Lounge community bigger. So thanks again, y'all, and I will see you soon.